For months, the public has been wondering, what exactly happened between Ziyu and Tian Xuning? Two names that used to be mentioned together so often are now rarely seen in the same frame. And finally, in a recent surprising interview, Ziyu spoke up for the first time, discussing the relationship that had been the subject of fan speculation. From the tone of her voice, from the occasional downward glance in her eyes, everyone knew this wasn't just a routine clarification. There was emotion, there was honesty, and there was a wound that hadn't fully healed. It all started so beautifully. Ziyu and Tian Xuning first met on a project that brought together many young stars. Their chemistry was evident from the very first meeting. Their eyes locked, small smiles that were difficult to hide, and their closeness behind the scenes convinced fans that they were more than just co-workers. The media began to cover them. Photos of the two circulated on the internet, from dinners after filming to simple moments like walking side by side at the airport. Fans gave them romantic nicknames, combining their names into symbols of young, tender, and pure love. However, like many sweet stories in the entertainment world, the happiness did not last long. No one knows exactly when everything started to change. But slowly, the public began to notice something strange. Ziyu, who used to mention Tian Xuning often in interviews, suddenly stopped. Her social media posts became more cautious, and even when Tian Xuning's name was mentioned, she only smiled faintly, without answering anything. Meanwhile, Tian Xuning seemed focused on his new projects. He appeared more serious, more cold, as if he wanted to emphasize that he had moved on to a new chapter. But that was precisely what made fans wonder even more. Was something going on between them? Rumors began to surface about jealousy, misunderstandings, and even speculation that the two had chosen different paths due to industry pressure. In a recent exclusive interview, the interviewer carefully asked about Tian Xuning. For a moment, the room fell silent. Ziyu took a deep breath, then smiled faintly. Tian Xuning is someone who means a lot to me, she said softly. Sometimes, people come into our lives not to stay forever, but to teach us something important. Her words sounded simple, but were full of meaning. She didn't disparage anyone, didn't avoid the question, but also didn't hide the sadness in her eyes. When asked if she was still in contact with Tian Xuning, Ziyu replied softly, "We each have different paths now, but I always hope he is happy." Those words immediately shook the hearts of fans. Social media exploded. Fans flooded the comments with mixed emotions, sadness, relief, and emotion. Fans who had been waiting for clarity could finally breathe a sigh of relief, even though the answer was not as sweet as expected. Many wrote messages of support for Ziyu, praising her courage to speak honestly without blaming anyone. Some fans even highlighted how maturely Ziyu handled the situation. He showed that love doesn't always have to end with togetherness, but can still be beautiful through memories, wrote a fan on the Weibo platform. Others felt that even though their relationship may have ended, the warmth that once existed between them would never truly disappear. Upon closer inspection, every word Ziyu spoke seemed carefully measured. But behind her calm smile, there was a shadow of sorrow that was hard to hide. She wasn't just talking about someone from the past, but about a part of herself that she had left behind. Some entertainment observers even argue that the interview was a form of closing the chapter for Ziyu, a way to let go and move on with life. However, fans who know him well understand that such profound love cannot simply vanish. Some say, unspoken love is the most sincere. And perhaps, that describes the relationship between Ziyu and Tian Xuning, a love that has no end in togetherness, but lives on in memories. However, behind the calmness of her face, there is a slight tremor in her voice when Tian Xuning's name is mentioned. She doesn't cry, but her eyes tell a story about long nights of reflection, about messages she wanted to send but ended up deleting, and about the longing she has to keep to herself. Fans who pay close attention can sense that every smile she gives is the result of a long struggle to come to terms with the past. Ziyu also mentioned that not everything can be explained with words. That sentence sounded like a silent admission that there were still things she wanted to say, but couldn't. Perhaps because they were too personal, or perhaps because she knew that words would not be enough to describe feelings that were once so deep. In a world filled with spotlight, sometimes silence becomes the strongest form of love one can give. And when the camera stopped recording, a staff member said that Ziyu sat silently for quite a while, staring blankly out the window before finally smiling slightly and saying, "I hope he's doing well too." That simple sentence said it all, that even though time has passed, there are feelings that never truly disappear, only stored neatly in the deepest corner of the heart. Towards the end of the interview, the interviewer asked what she wanted to say to someone from her past, without mentioning any names. Ziyu paused for a moment, then said in a voice that was almost trembling, "Thank you for coming into my life. If I could turn back time, I would still want to get to know you." Those words made everyone in the room fall silent. There was no need to mention names. Everyone knew who those words were meant for. Now, after all the speculation and rumors, fans finally got the truth. There was no big drama, no finger-pointing, just two hearts that once understood each other, but ultimately chose different paths. The story of Ziyu and Tian Xuning is not about a painful ending, but about maturity in loving and letting go. About how someone can still wish for another person's happiness, even when they are no longer part of the story. And perhaps this is why their story touches so many people's hearts, because behind the glitz and glamour of the entertainment world, they show the most human side of love, sincerity. After the interview aired, Ziyu and Tian Xuning's names were trending again on various platforms. Fans made compilation videos of their moments together, with captions like, "Love doesn't always need a happy ending. Sometimes beautiful memories are enough." And among the thousands of comments, one simple message stood out. They may no longer be together, but their story will always live on in our hearts. That's how true love is. It doesn't fade, it just changes form. Ziyu finally spoke, and the world listened. Now, not only has the truth been revealed, but also the soft side of a star who dared to show her heart as it is. Do you think Ziyu still harbors feelings for Tian Xuning? Or is this truly the end of a story that once made many hearts race? Share your thoughts in the comment section, because this story may not be over yet.